Video isn't the future, it's now. But in a world where people still cling to PowerPoints and PDFs, there is a real opportunity to break through the noise and show how you can show off you, your people, and your business. My name is Daniel O'Connor, Director and Co-founder of Transform Comms. In this episode, Nick, our Senior Multimedia Creative, and I sit down to discuss how, where, and when video is best utilised in your organisation. Why video? Why would an organisation look at or think of producing video, putting video out there to the world? Where would they put it? And so on, Nick.
Well, yeah, I think, first of all, it adds huge amounts of personality to your kind of visual offering and your branding. You know, it shows off people within your company that might otherwise get kind of overlooked within the work that they do every day. It allows you to highlight those sort of thought leaders in your company, the experts that you have, puts them at the forefront and shows to potential customers or clients that look at this amazing team that we have, look at these amazing people that we have, and they really do know their about stuff, and this is amazing and you should work with us because of that. It's an opportunity as well, in a non-serious context, to show a lot of personality, like, a lot of fun, potentially, or like your company's sense of humor, or more of your kind of sense of tone. And these can go anywhere. Obviously social media is the obvious one. They can just be like little clips, or they can be podcasts like this. But a good storytelling video at the beginning on like your homepage of your website, that says everything about your company, and how it was founded, and your visions for the future, and why you're really good at what you do. That can take an entire website's worth of copy and be watchable in 2 minutes. It's an incredibly powerful tool, especially for people that don't want to necessarily have to trawl through 20 pages of a website as well to get like the full picture of what you do.
There's a point you made at the beginning of that comment there that I'd like to pick up on as well, because it gave me a scenario in my head. And it was around bringing out the personalities in a business in particular. I think an important part for an organization, if you're looking at a sale acquisition in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, whenever it may be, the video can be utilized by bringing other people from the business into the public eye or the potential acquirer's eyes. Because there's a big danger when you're looking at mergers and acquisitions that the value can get stuck in you, the directors, or certain key people within an organization. And that can, one, hinder the value, two, hinder the acquisition potential, full stop. Because if people think, well, if I buy this organization and the 2, 3, 4, 5 directors that they perceive to be the key people in the business go, where is the value left? So I think it's really nice to bring some of the employees that are coming up through the ranks, the employees that are doing they're actually doing the job, they're delivering the service or product or whatever it may be, to highlight them and show off that, it's not just about the people that are the face of the business running it or owning it, which can often be a problem.
Yeah. And also it's nice to see different personalities as well, not just the directors. I mean, don't get me wrong, like we've done lots and lots of videos where it's lots of managing directors or directors or boards or whatever and stuff. But the videos that we found that have connected more with clients are the ones I kind of tend to be other employees that maybe have a slightly less serious personality, or less almost like corporate facing face to it. So they have a bit more of a excitement to their work, or they have more of a playful demeanor in the video, and it isn't just as serious. And like you say, it highlights other people in the business that aren't just like the 2 people at the top or the 5 people in the boardroom or whatever it is. And like you say, in a sales for trying to sell the company, it's nice to know that you're getting some of these people and not just the people that are exiting.
Going on from that, we've highlighted one reason that or one way that you could use video. What are the other ways, reasons or rhymes to use video within an organization? And I'll say that both internally and externally, because video is not necessarily just about what you put out to the big wide world.
Yeah. I mean, there's loads of ways to utilize video. Like, I think, we've had examples that, companies have used them for recruitment in different ways. They've used it as a way of showing that this is the kind of place that you could work in and stuff like that, which I suppose is almost an external, internal video. It kind of blends between the two. Obviously stuff like email campaigns or, huge things like that, PPC campaigns, all those sorts of things. But, it's such a versatile platform in a way that you can, express many aspects of your company's vision, as well as, the obvious things like product videos and things like that just show off individual services or show individual things. There's every department, every part of your business can be shown through that lens.
And that resonates with me because I am very much a visual person. I consume through the quickest possible way, through content via video. Whereas our wonderful managing director, Ronnie, my business partner, will read everything and we'll go into a new organizational sector and we'll sit there doing a deep dive for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours sometimes with said organization and board directors. And when we leave, Ronnie will walk away and buy every single book that was relevant to that conversation. So if it was around the semiconductor world, she'll go and research every book possible that talks about cryo-etch or plasma abatement systems or something crazy. I'll do the opposite. I'll go to YouTube. I'll go to content that I can find that I can go, okay, 5 minutes and I've consumed that. Okay, I'll go and read that or view that for 3 minutes. I'll view that for 1 minute. So I think that's another important thing, is that people in general, even though you're buying the same thing, so it might be you're selling the same service, you're selling the same product. Let's say it's TikTok gym pants. I always go to that silly example, but people will find that product or service through different routes. I'm a video man, so I'll talk about it in the day. My phone will then serve it up to me on social media at night. And that's my cue to then go, I'll delve a bit deeper. Other people will search in different ways. So how do you think that comes across or is utilized through video?
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, like loads of people consume stuff in different ways. YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. I think there's an interesting point you sort of raised there as well. It's like, if there's lots of different companies within the sector that have, maybe similar offerings or something like that, there's always an opportunity for a company to control the knowledge on that space and how that's transferred to customers. If you have quite a niche business and it's kind of hard to explain, like a video is a great way to explain that, and then your company becomes the people that know the most about it because you have the best video about it. And even if there are other videos on the topic, it's like there's always bad videos, but like the good ones always seem to filter to the top. So there's never an excuse not to try, at least. I think that's the main thing I would say to people. It's just like you have the knowledge within your company and your business and your sector and what you want to get across to clients, and it's like you can control that narrative. So it's like, why wouldn't you?
I think if you take the Apple and the Android debate, I think it's a very divided area. Some people are Apple, some people are Android. I will only buy Apple. We're an Apple-only company, as you know. But I will only buy Apple. But all I need is to see the launch video for the new phone in September when it comes out, and I'll watch that video for 3 minutes and I'm sold. That is it for me. Whereas other people will consume that through Samsung or other providers are available with an Android device, and that's the route that they will take. But even if the technology is not as good in Apple, which is the argument for Android users in terms of functionality, usability, etc., 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 I get absolutely wrapped up with the way that Apple portray and produce video and edit video and put their video out, and that is what every single year or every 2 years convinces me that I'm going to get the new iPhone, I'm going to get the new MacBook, I'm going to get the MacBook Studio or the Mac Studio, that you utilize here, and that captures me every time.
There's an interesting thing you brought up about that, because I think Apple have some of the best production quality of their events. I love watching their events and the crazy transitions, and there's the huge like product launch events have some of the best like non-Hollywood production. But that's an interesting point, because production, I think, plays into this and how your company is perceived and how your products are perceived.
Yeah, agree.
Through it. And, you'll see lots and lots of companies, and there's arguments for both sides of this, but you see lots of companies, they'll ask the social media person or whatever, or then maybe one of their marketing people that work in-house at the company, because they go, you've got a phone or an iPhone or something like that, you need to film some videos for us. So that, they go buy a cheap light off Amazon or something, and they try and get some videos. And
I'll jump in there. There's a time and a place for that.
Yeah, completely.
I think there is a time and a place and a use for somebody, or whether it's a director or somebody, a manager or a salesperson, to utilize iPhone and iPhone cameras and video inside of their marketing organization. An event, tomorrow I'm going to Learning Technologies in London, for instance, and I think it's nice to capture some footage of the event on your phone and a bit of authentic footage when we're going to see our friends and clients that will be there. But there are absolutely times and places that you cannot do that, in my opinion. If you're a multi-million, multi-billion pound company, you need to look the best and show completely. The best of who you are and what you do. And I'll use an analogy that I use quite often in business, and it is that you wouldn't buy a Ferrari and get it serviced at Ford. So why would you let your business down by producing video in the lowest quality, without the right lighting, without the right sound, without the right post-production of editing suites and all of the color grading and wonderful things that you guys do? Why would you not have that best view of you that goes out to the big wide world?
Yeah, completely. And there's that whole thing of you can control in any aspect, the location, the lighting, the cameras used, the post-production bits, the graphics, all the animate, all of that stuff can be curated to make your company look as grand as it needs to, or if you are a market leader and you think you need to be projecting that you are this, and you need to have all those bells and whistles to be like, look, we're the best and this is why we have all of these things. And when it's kind of reduced down to like a phone, and then somebody just kind of got someone in the corner of an office with a light, and it's like, that doesn't show that. It doesn't show the scale. It doesn't show everything you want to. Like, maybe what they're saying is interesting, but because it doesn't necessarily look the part, you go in with a almost like a prejudgment. Your brain, even if you don't know anything about cameras, your brain knows when something looks rubbish, or my worst offender is like, I really hate the videos that are like Zoom calls that people post and stuff on like LinkedIn. It's just like, why am I watching? Like I go to enough Teams meetings as it is. I don't need to watch one on LinkedIn. Can I watch something a bit more curated and a bit more thought out?
At least put the unicorn background on or something,
Or else the face with like you have the octopus face or something like that.
I have many fun time in meetings with that.
In this next section, Nick and I talk about authenticity, and it's the authenticity of your people and your personality, not just the individuals, but your business as well. Video can be utilized to grow trust and respect for your brand, for your people, but also could be a great way for a future sale or exit to maximize the value of your company.
Talking about content of the video, why is it important to plan what you're doing within a video, but from our advice, not to script? Dependent upon the video. I'll counteract that.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the B2B style videos that we do tend to be, thought leaders, and they're talking heads, and they're talking about their expertise, against services or products that, the company offers. And if you try and push people down into a script of like, oh, you know, they always do it. We'll write notes for them to be like, you know, we want to cover these points in the video, and we say, no notes, please. We want like we want a genuine answer from you for all of these topics. You know, you can have a rough idea in your head, but don't go. And they inevitably always come with a big notepad full of things, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna let me just have a double check. Let me just double check what I've written down. And it's like you're not, the notes are not you talking. Like, and you know, I've said this a lot, but with like, people don't write in the same way that they speak either. And even using teleprompters and things like that, where, you know, people can try and read a version of a script, it never quite sounds right. It always sounds read. You know, people that are really good at it have taken, generally speaking, take years, or just do video so often that they can read naturally. And even then, like, the eye line always looks a little bit off, because you can see them kind of scanning left to right a little bit. So for me, it just doesn't work. I'd rather have the genuine answers. Even if they make mistakes, we can always cut around them. Yeah. You know, and I'm not against having some ums and some you know, likes or whatever.
No,
because it's so, but it's part of what makes them sound like them. You know? And I think if companies get too prescriptive on what they have to say and what they have to sound like, it stops you stop having that personality of the people in the company. Yeah,
I agree. But we've seen it 100 times, haven't we? When, you know, directors or people within an organization that we've known for donkey's years, and they're incredible at what they do. They are genuine subject matter experts. Some of them the best at what they do, either in the UK or literally in the world.
Yeah.
And we see them try to script something and overcomplicate the words that are coming out, and all of a sudden,
word stuffing. They'll just be
and you
$50 words with a $5 word.
That's not you. You don't sound like that, and that's what will come across in the video. That's not a genuine reflection of who you are, or what you do. You know, getting AI or ChatGPT or whatever you use to write a script for a video is probably the worst thing you could ever do. But you read that beautifully off the auto cue, so we'll turn that off now. Thanks.
But the amount of people that crumble with a script as well, because they use it. They think it's the bit that's helping them, and it's often the bit that's not helping them at all. It's the bit that's making them crumble, because they're like, oh, I've missed out the R in that sentence, or I missed out actually I'll change that to a bigger word or whatever. And it's like, you don't need it. You're like, you do this every single day. Or like, especially when you're talking to directors, like, you built this company like 20 years ago. Why do you need a script to tell you what you did? You lived it, dude. Just tell me what you did.
I think that's one of the first things when we're recording, and if I'm art directing the video, if you're art directing the video, I think that's one of the first things we say. Imagine you're stood at a bar, and I walk into the bar and I go, so what do you do then, buddy? You would reel it off without even thinking, verbatim, and it would be a very simple, same as if you go to a conference or an exhibition, and whether you've got a stand or whether you're just there and you meet lots of people. Somebody says, so what do you do then? You would just say it.
Yeah, completely.
It would fly out. And it would sound natural and nice, and you go, I want to know more.
And you probably even add jokes in and stuff like that to be friendly to people. And it's, but you put the camera in, and suddenly I need to, you have to add some permanence to the words, and then suddenly people kind of crumble about it. But it's more about just you be you. That's the only important bit.
It is tough. I've probably said that, what I've just said there about, you walk into a bar and somebody comes up and says, what do you do? I've probably said that 1,000 times now to people that we're filming. Yet you put the camera in front of me and I'm the same. I crumble until I can relax and get into the flow. Alcohol tends to help with that. We've used that at conferences and exhibitions filming people before, and a bottle of Corona or two tends to help.
Yeah. I mean, I can't recommend that on every single shoot.
Especially if you're driving afterwards. That's not allowed. Going into picking up on something you said there about location. So where should you film a video for your business?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably easy to say where you shouldn't film. I think it's like your office. There are exceptions to rules. If you've got like a really, 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 really nice office, and it's maybe it's in a particularly nice area of a city or something like that, or you want to show off something like that, then that's cool. Let's do it there. But I would imagine a good 90% of businesses probably don't have an office that's like really show offable. So it's like, you don't have to be tied down to your office to have the video. Like, there are loads of locations you can go, and don't even, it doesn't have to be some sort of crazy studio. It can be anything, like a really good, you could use a backdrop of a gallery or something, or a museum, or, you can find, huge back rooms in halls or something like that, but something that gives it a sense of scale, or something a bit more interesting to have as a background, and it suddenly adds contextual weight for it. So if you're interviewing someone who's like a researcher for your company, like, put them in a library. Contextually, it makes sense, and it looks so much better than if you did just pin them at their office with their lunch in the corner. I think yes, there's probably an extra little bit of expense and probably a little bit of extra planning in that, but like the video and the weight and the context that it adds is invaluable.
I mean, we've done that, haven't we? We've worked with clients that work with huge organizations all around the world, and their client base might be Mercedes and BMW and multiple other blue chip organizations. But we've actually sourced and found ex-warehouses, ex-factories that have been converted into incredible spaces. We've utilised lounges up at our local pub, Babington House, all kinds of venues to be able to shoot and film, to give that depth, to give that perception, just to give it something than a blank white wall and two orange chairs. So humans have an attention span of about 8 seconds. And the reason I say that is that we, as humans, naturally make a judgment or an assessment on something within 8 seconds. So whether you're looking at a car driving...
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
You absolutely up my whole flow. So human beings have an attention span of about 8 seconds.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we naturally make a judgment or an assessment on something within that 8 seconds. So whether it's you're looking at a video on your phone, on social media, whether you're looking at a car driving down the road, and that is exactly why I think location is important, or the surroundings or the set or something in the video is absolutely crucial. I remember we did a video for ourselves last year, and it's one that we utilize in every single film and shoot we do. We send it to clients as a precursor. This is, do's and don'ts of being on video, talking on video, etc., etc. And we actually filmed that in the fields here, where our offices are based in a lovely rural location, a big barn conversion. And we filmed that actually under a barn roof. But looking out across the fields, but utilising these chairs. We had lamps outside. So why should you go beyond the boundaries of your office and do something a bit different and a bit crazy?
Well, it's like you said, it's just finding those little visual hooks that can just kind of grab people. Because I say there's thousands of corporate videos that are in glass buildings with other buildings in the background, or here is an office, it has a blue carpet and here's lots of desks behind it. It's like it's been done lots of times. So by doing something a bit different, like going out into the field with the lamp and the chair and stuff like that, you're grabbing people. What are they talking about? Where are they? And like I say, it helps with their attention span. It just helps with like, why are they? But it's it's a good grabber from a timeline, because we all sit and flick the screen for ages and just be like, oh, whatever this is, like, oh, what's that? And it's just those little things that can make the difference between them stopping on your client's video and them stopping on yours.
And then ensure that the content is good enough within that video to keep them there. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, completely.
Let's face it, B2B doesn't have to mean boring. B2C has typically been used for some of the most creative content out there, but now is the time for B2B to start taking this space. Bringing creativity to even the driest topics, sectors, industries, that can be the game changer that really elevates you, your brand, and whatever you are trying to sell. In this section, we talk about just that.
So I'd love to talk about the blurred lines between B2B and B2C video, and the uses of that. Where do you think that differentiates and stops, or does it not anymore?
I think the line exists because we say it exists, I think is probably the best way of saying it. There's the old adage of B2B has to be all serious, formal suits. And then B2C gets to be fun and expressive and do the rest of it. And the reality is it's the B2C customers are the B2B customers when they go home, or often when they're playing on their phone at work. They're the same people. It's the same, it's the same, it's the same audiences, but you've just changed the letter for no reason. What resonates with one will certainly resonate with the same person, because it's, like you said, you liked, you got influenced by like an Apple advert or something, and it's like, well, that approach would work for a B2B company trying to sell something. It doesn't make a difference what you're selling. Like, the approach is the same, and I think that's the limiting factor. I think a lot of companies as well, especially, think they're boring as well. We've encountered a lot of B2B businesses that, be it, I don't know, an accountancy company or whatever, and they're like, oh, you can try and make us interesting, but we're quite boring. It's like, don't sell yourself short. Don't put the ceiling over yourself straight away. Like, we can make this as exciting as we want to be, and it's, I think having that want to be creative and explore it, especially if your competitors aren't doing it, you're the only one that's doing it. I mean, well, then you're de facto the leader in it. I think, well, there's no, again, without sounding like a broken record, there's not really an excuse not to try it. I think, it's just finding the bits that you can pull out that are interesting, and often I don't even think the companies themselves know what that is. I think because they're so entrenched in it themselves, they just think it's all boring. But you're just like, oh, but what if we, what if we shot this in slow-mo, and then we did, and then we did this, and then we'll do some cool lighting shot and do you walking into here or doing this, and then suddenly it's like, oh, well, this is starting to feel a bit more exciting, and you can actually see them change as well when they start to see it happen. Because we've done the thing where we've shown them playback on the day, even it's unedited or whatever, but it's just the the playback from the cameras, and they're just like, oh wow, that looks like a film, and then you suddenly see their demeanor change, and then they're more into it, and then they're like, oh, should we try this? And they're like, yeah, let's try that now. And it's just like, sometimes you just need to kind of open the door and then kind of kick them through a little bit.
100%. We've recently, I don't know if I've told you this because I've been away. But we recently did the video for a very large pub chain. And I went back there on the weekend, actually. It's my local pub, one of them that we filmed. And I went back there on the weekend to show them the end result of the first cut of the video, which is the point in which we go to the amends stage. But they were absolutely blown away, and they said, you make it look better than what it is. And I go, no, it is this nice. It's just a selection of angles, people, different things, food shots, etc. You can genuinely make it look better than what it is, but that is what it is. And they were astounded, blown away. Same with the medical equipment, the videos we made for them, unbelievable what we can do with some clever lighting, turning some lighting off. And then the right people, subject matter experts speaking, but interlaced with that B-roll footage that nobody else in the industry's probably got anything like that at the moment.
I'm reminded of a phrase, like one of the guys that taught me how to do kind of photography, and was one of my first sort of person that showed me how to use a camera and stuff. He always said that photography, and by extension videography, isn't about taking pictures of beautiful things. It's bringing out beauty in things. And I think that's just the good way of thinking about all of this sort of things. It's not, so just because you don't have cool cars or something to take a photo of, it doesn't mean that you don't have anything interesting to show.
We've all seen the shaky iPhone footage, and that works. If you're at a conference and you're trying to get some genuine, authentic footage of how your day is going or the people that you're speaking to, fantastic. But there is a time when professional production is absolutely needed. If you are a multi-million pound company, you need to look like a multi-million pound company. Now we start to discuss when is the right time to use a production company and professional cameras.
So we touched earlier upon equipment, and anybody can pick up an iPhone. I mean, an iPhone Pro nowadays has 4K cameras. It's cool. It's good technology. But that's not the be all and end all of it. When we were talking about technology, lighting, just the knowledge of filming and how you need to film to then get the post-production so that you don't make one continuously long 5-minute video that goes monotone and becomes really boring. So what should organizations consider when they're looking at agencies or videography companies to choose to come in to help and assist them? What are the factors they need to consider when making those decisions, do you think, Nick?
Yeah, it's a good point. And I agree. Like, every phone could probably do 4K now, but there's 4K and there's 4K. And obviously, just because you have a camera doesn't make you a videographer, or a photographer or whatever it is. There are plenty of video agencies about that, just buy something and then say that they are a thing. And they'll go and they'll shoot it and they'll edit it roughly together and then call it a day. But the difference is, I think, a real kind of production company or video agency, or those sort of things combined, will kind of get under the hood of your company, find out what you're really trying to get out of the videos, what you want to use them for, what you're really trying to say, what your competitors saying and what they're not saying and what you should be saying. Having that almost like third party eye across your company to be like, you guys don't talk about this. We should really get this as well one day, because why don't you talk about it? None of your competitors do this. Why don't you? And they're just like, we just thought everyone does that. And the amount of times we've walked into companies and they have a unique selling point that we just kind of was like, what's that in the corner, or whatever. And it's having that knowledge to do that, and then bringing that on the day. So when you have 4 or 5 interviews or whatever on the day, when you're interviewing different people from the company, and it's being like, oh, can you tell me about this? Because we've done the research on the company and we've talked with them for a few, for weeks before that. We send you questions ahead of time, but because we like to always think of questions on the day as well.
Golden nuggets.
Yeah. And it's being entrenched in those companies and having that kind of fully integrated bit into the company when we go, oh yeah, maybe we should talk about that thing that's coming down the line in 6 months or something like that now, or you're doing something about ESG. Maybe we should talk about that because you've got some stuff coming up, And a video company that's just trying to go through, I don't know, just through the standard template that they do for every single company, it won't go any further than like the 4 questions that they go, so who are you? What do you do?
What's your name? What's your title?
Yeah, and
what do you do?
All of the good bits that we've got from videos are asking those more tailored questions, those deeper questions. And ChatGPT doesn't know those either. It's only when you really talk to the people that do the work every day and you really kind of get to know what the company does and what it wants to do. And like you say, maybe they're trying to exit in 5 years. If you can have that conversation and you're like, okay, well, we can position this or exit in a year or something like that, but like there's those sorts of things are like a deeper thing, and all of that added with knowing how to make the production run really well, run really smoothly, making it look amazing. We're all exposed to stuff on Netflix and high quality things all the time, so like our brains know what good stuff looks like. So if you suddenly mirror that, you're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. All of that added together, and you're suddenly it's not a cost, it's an investment, and you've got this huge arsenal of things after it.
Oh, you can create 6 to 12 months worth of content in a day or two shooting if you do it correctly.
Yeah, completely.
Equally, I've seen people fold on camera, and you can get 2 hours worth of recordings to produce 2 minutes, and that's it. But I think with the right art direction, with the right knowledge, with the right brief from the outset to make sure the goals and objectives of the end outputs, i.e. the videos, are being met, I think you can get so much content in one day's worth of filming by doing it right. And you can do things right or do it badly. I think going back to what I said a moment ago about the golden nuggets, that's why when we are art directing and interviewing people, I love taking people off on tangents, because they might say something that is a piece about the ethos or ethics of their company, and then you go, hang on a moment, there's something in this, and you take them down another path, and all of a sudden you've got some incredible content that wasn't even in the script. We don't script, but wasn't in the list of questions, and all of a sudden you're on to a winner. And then it might be that it creates 5, 15, 30-second social media clips. It might be that it creates something that goes into a proposal, or something that is an internal message for internal comms to 20,000 employees, or whatever it may be. I think stuff like that is absolutely magical. And if you can get that, and if you can do that right, which I think we can, I think we nail it without blowing our own trumpets, I think that is the value back to the client as well, on top of what we then produce or said videography company produces for them.
Yeah, completely. And it's, it is a bit of a two-way street in some regards. We send stuff ahead of time and we want them to have a real think about what they want to bring out. And, and because we will try our hardest to coax as much stuff as we can out on the day. And I think that's part of it, is because we have our list of things that we want to definitely pull out of people, and it's like, and you, like you say, you go around like, or maybe you'll start talking about fishing or something like that, and then a random thing that, oh, actually, what was this other thing? And then suddenly they're a bit more relaxed, and suddenly you get like a 5-minute explanation about something that they were struggling to do 10 minutes ago.
And or meeting them before. I think meeting them, whether it's face-to-face or even on a video call, just to get an understanding of how they articulate, how they talk, how they act, how they gesticulate, how they anything, how do you think, move, talk, speak? I think that is invaluable as well when we are doing the preparation side of what we call a treatment doc, which is prior to getting ready for scripting and getting it ready for video recording. I think that is invaluable in the process, or part of the process that we do when we're getting a client ready, because we've seen it in the past, and we're victims of this ourselves 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when we started filming. You go unprepared and they come unprepared, and it's a mess, isn't it? It takes an hour just to get an introduction and who are we? Whereas if you've got all of that lined up prior, you can get something incredible in minutes. I think there's been instances where you can luck out with some people. That there are the odd talented people that can just kind of come in and they sit down and they're like, what questions, and then they just fire it off as if they're being interviewed on the BBC, and they've been doing it all their life. Some people are just really good like that. You reminded me of the CEO we did of a developer. He was a big developer in the UK, CEO of the organisation. He came on at one of their developments in a brand new property, and he absolutely smashed it out the park. I could have listened to that guy for hours. And he wasn't media trained. It was like you said, he was just done it a lot.
Some people are really good to it. I mean, that's not an excuse to say don't read up on anything and do it off the seat of your pants. But like, there are rare occasions where that happens, but like I often find it's just, if you have the almost kind of backup plan of a good company that can, even if you're not the most confident, or you have a bad day, or some people that aren't maybe getting out what you need to get, you need the people behind the camera to help get the day done. So the reality is these things cost money, and you need the reassurance of a good team behind the camera to make sure that you get the most out of every person on that day, and you get videos that you're happy with and are proud to show to everybody and actually do what you want them to do.
It's an investment in time and money, and time is worth more than money to most directors. So I think, if they come prepared, if you come prepared, it's a win-win. It's just about investing that time. If you think you're going to rock up and everybody's going to do everything for you, that never happens. It's got to be an equal engagement there of their time and your time to make sure that you get it right, I think is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, completely.
So organizations that are thinking about doing video at the moment, or organizations that go, oh, that's not for us, we're not big enough. Why not?
Every organization's big enough, I think. I think whether you've got a burger van or a banking empire. I think it's all relevant to have video to show off what you do and the way you do it, and your unique personality to it.
You've just absolutely reminded me of a thing that happens a lot on social media at the moment. So you get particular fish and chip places, particular kebab shops, there's the Spud Man on Instagram and things, and quite literally is a burger van or a Spud van.
The Spud van is a mystery to me. I have no idea why millions of people watch a man put beans on a jacket potato.
But people queue for hundreds of yards to then go there and get a Spud or get a kebab or get fish and chips.
I mean, English food doesn't get a great renown in the world anyways, and the fact that there's a guy with like 2 million subscribers just putting cheese on a potato, it's just like, thanks, great advert for us.
So we've covered a lot there. There's a lot to talk about, and I think we could go on forever. It's our passion. It's one of our passions. It's something that I particularly love in the wide range of things that we do. When we've got a filming shoot coming up, absolutely adore going out on shoots. Not just because it's a good day out, but you get to learn and understand so much more about an organization when you're doing it. And equally, when we do the post-production and deliver the end results, the videos, the reels, the sizzlers, whatever they've asked for in the first place, seeing their faces light up and go, wow, that is amazing. You've made us look amazing. You made us sound amazing. That for me is the pinnacle of a week. I absolutely adore that part when you get that feedback.
Yeah, and I think that with every client that we've ever shown stuff to, I think they almost get this like addictive nature with it. I think as soon as they've seen like the finished product and it's all shiny 4K and it's lovely lit and there's a beautiful set and they're coming across as incredibly intelligent and all the rest of it, they're like, and then they put it on their website. And they go, oh wow, this is like a little gleaming jewel on the website. Now, have you seen our video? And you see all the people in the video and other employees share it and stuff across LinkedIn and all the rest of it. And it's like, oh, suddenly, like, especially companies that don't have like a tangible product. It's, a lot of their product is kind of service based. When they have something that they can kind of send to people and show off in a fun way, it's amazing to see that kind of excitement filter through the company.
You always see that when we go into a new organization and people, so they say, oh, we'll reach out to 12 people and see who we can get, and 3 come back and say yes, and 9 go, absolutely no way, and then you deliver the end result, and then the 9 that said no go, hang on a minute, that looks really good.
Can we be in the next one?
Can I be on the next one, please? And they want that limelight and in the safe hands that they know they're not going to be made to look stupid.
So whether you are selling chips or microchips, the message is clear. If video is well executed, well presented, and a true representation of you and your brand, that can be the absolute level game changer for you and your business. I would like to say a huge thanks to Nick for his insights and intelligence and vast experience in this area, helping you guys to understand a bit more about video and how you can utilize it within your organization. If any of this has sparked your interest, or you just want to explore what you could potentially do with video, please get in touch. We'd love to have a chat.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. We promise it's all pretty good. At least most of the time. Well, some of the time. You know what, just do it for pity's sake, please.